So we're gathered again tonight going through Antioch's new cemetery. Michael Schultz present with Jennifer Dale, Charlie, goodness gracious, Calvin Williams, Jeff McIntosh, Miss Nancy Harris, Joyce McIntosh, and Michael Christian. And we pick back up on our list with Miss Brenda Coursey Henderson, born 1942, died 2011. Jennifer, did you know Miss Brenda?
That name does not ring any bells for me.
Okay. Calvin, did you ever know Brenda Henderson, born 1942?
Which one was she?
Brenda Henderson. She was born a Coursey.
I haven't found the name yet.
Let's see here.
The second column.
Yeah, on your sheet it's the second column, down beneath the Harrises. Ruby Harris, Shelby Harris, Brenda Henderson.
Evidently don't know her, didn't know her or something.
Okay. Jeff, I imagine you spent a lot of time with her.
I think that was the years I was in Glasgow, and I'm looking up her obituary, actually, trying to figure out her.
If you come on something, let us know. Miss Nancy, did you know Brenda?
I cannot place her at all.
That's what's interesting.
Well, that tells you something, because Nancy, you know everybody. That's what I've found. You're the locked box. Miss Joyce, did you know her?
No, I didn't know it.
Michael, Brenda?
I don't think so.
You able to pull a obituary on
I
her, Jeff?
think I'm pulling up. Nope, that's not the right year, so no.
Okay.
I'm looking, but it should be something online, but I ain't
I
found
expect 2011 is pretty recent.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep going, and if you pull anything, that'd be all right. But we have a tendency of going over, so I hate to waste any time. Leonard Ray Hopper, born 1942, died 1980. Did you know him, Jennifer?
Yes, he lived across the creek.
Okay, just over here on Antioch Church Road.
His, how many he had? 5, 6 kids,
Oh,
maybe more. He was pretty well blind.
Oh,
I don't think he was completely blind, but he was blind enough that he needed assistance.
okay.
But I reckon he was a good man. He was in the church quite a bit.
Oh,
Now, some of his kids didn't follow after that, but yeah, I reckon he was a pretty good guy.
okay. Seemed like something rung a bell for you, Calvin. Do you know Leonard Hopper?
Leonard?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's Martha Hopper, the next one, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's his wife, and he was the daddy of Mikey Hopper.
Nathan.
There was 3 of them boys. One of them lives right over here, did.
Okay, I know Nathan then.
Yeah, Nathan Hopper.
Nathan, yeah. Nathan and another one.
Which
I can't think right
David
now.
Ballard's oldest daughter married his oldest son, David Hopper.
Okay.
David Judge, I think.
And there's a John,
Yeah.
too.
I have,
And
Was there 4 of them?
4 boys and the girl. Elizabeth.
Is this on Hopper?
no, this is not on Hopper.
It's back on him.
This is back on, was it Barbara?
Brenda.
Brenda. Maybe y'all recognize this name. Betty Sue Coursey Henderson. That was the daughter of Leslie Coursey and Lorraine Johnson Coursey.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Okay, Anna Lou's sister.
Yep.
Okay, so you knew that bunch.
I did,
Okay. We'll come back and do that. Let's wrap up Mr. Hopper, and then we'll come back. Keep that in pulled up for me, Jeff, if you will.
They
So-
attended church here, Martha and him both, best I remember. when them boys was young, they came here.
Yeah, you could hear a wham, and you know it's Martha smacking one of them.
One,
It's either her or it was Melba, remember? They both had a bunch of boys,
Uh-huh.
the little rascals. They were so cute.
All right. Did you know them, Jeff?
No.
The Hoppers? So, talking about that, Miss Nancy, Leonard or Martha, either one, what do you remember specifically about them aside from the hitting the boys?
I knew either one of them. I knew both of them real well, and they came to church here and brought their children. And as far as I know, they were good Christian people. But you don't realize it that they are Ethan and Allie's great-grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
They
knew
are-
that.
They are hoppers,
Right,
but
Yeah.
they go by Scruggs.
gotcha. Yeah, I knew that their father was somehow tied in with the Hoppers up here. I didn't know exactly how. Okay, so this is their great-grandparents. Okay.
Well, Martha is the one, when Elizabeth was a baby, that Brother Mullen stopped service and told her that he'd give her a few minutes to go and take the
Oh,
baby and get that fixed. She
okay.
was very amused
How
now.
long? Till I think everybody's last nerve was plucked, and he went over and apologized to her after church. And
I mean,
she told him that she understood.
it's hard to
She should
scream
have.
over a
Yeah,
screaming child.
right.
Yeah, they did have noisy kids.
Did you know them, Miss Joyce?
I knew her when I saw her, that's about,
Okay. Michael, did you know Leonard or Martha?
Not that well at all. I mean, I remember him being here, but just her talking about him being or almost blind. I thought he was blind because, you know, they definitely had to lead him and help him find the steps and everything. But I didn't know he could see anything.
Well, he may not have been able at the end to see anything, but I thought for a while he could see shadows or something.
Might have been. I didn't really know him that well.
I think Martha was also Loretta Shutt's sister, is that right? Was Martha Loretta Shutt's sister?
Loretta?
Or was Loretta Leonard's sister? They were somehow related.
Now, Martha, mother, was a sister to Aunt Floyd, Arba Lee, all those Johnsons that came to church here. In fact, they're all right here.
Okay, well, it must have been
Must have been
him that sister was a Schutz, because somehow they were related there.
Yeah, they were.
Okay. And so, one of the first things I was told when I come to Antioch, and some people act like this is derogatory. I don't think it is. They call this area up from a Schutzville sometimes because it's all Schutzes up there,
Yeah.
except for I know the one Hopper house is right there on the right. So there's a Hopper, and then it's all Schutzes.
Yeah,
But really, that's still all one family.
yeah, because they were all cousins.
Okay. All right, Jeff, inform us. What was Miss Brenda's alias?
It was Betty Sue Coursey Henderson. And again, the daughter of Leslie Coursey and Lorraine Johnson Coursey. She had a son, Johnny Bryant, and a daughter, Judy Davis. And then it says several grandchildren, not list anything else.
So Leslie Coursey and who else? Who was her mother?
Lorraine Johnson Coursey. We talked about them last week.
Okay. And so this is just one of the daughters that we
Yep.
would have mentioned. Okay.
But that's why we didn't recognize her, because she went by Betty Sue.
Betty Sue. Okay. All righty. Anna Kathleen, born a Coursey, Anna Kathleen Johnson, born 1913, died 1995. Did you know her, Miss Jennifer?
All I know about her is that she was married to the Arden Lee. which I think was one of Paul Fat's buddies,
Okay.
but I didn't know him personally.
For
Either
the,
one of them.
and he keeps coming up, I'm sure Paul Fat seems to be, but he had lots of buddies. What was his legal name?
Sinclair.
Sinclair Delk?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Calvin, did you know Anna Johnson?
I did. Know him too.
R.V. Lee?
Yeah. That was his wife, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I remember he used to come, he's a heavy-set guy. I remember them coming to church here. That's about all. I wasn't, what you say, really involved in their families, just, on most of the only time I've seen them was when they come to church.
Okay.
About the only time that I remember them.
Jeff, did you know them at all?
I did not know her, but I do think I know her brother, which was Albert Clay Jack Coursey, which I think went by Little Jack, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a distant relative of the Courseys, not the same set that split though. It was a little bit farther back, just like I think one generation off of the ones that split from here.
Okay.
But I didn't know her.
Okay. Miss Nancy, do you remember Anna Johnson?
Yes, real well.
What was she like?
She was a real sweet little lady. She was good helping us at church. And he had her husband, he had a stroke. And he didn't give up. He drove to church out here in the town after having a stroke for no telling how many years.
Hmm.
And she was a brave little lady, I thought, to ride with him.
Yeah. Well, so that's something too. I know with Miss Louise, specifically Louise Henderson, she lived, what, 93, 94 years, something like that. Never did get a driver's license. She never learned how to drive at all. And so was that more common for ladies back then to...
That's right. They
Lady.
didn't drive. The man did all the driving and everything.
Okay.
Whether they had a license or not. Because my great granddaddy could. Nobody else would ride with him.
All right. Did, well, we'll get to RV here in a moment. Miss Joyce, did you know Anna?
No.
Is that what she went by, Nancy? Anna?
No, we called her Kathleen.
Kathleen. Okay. Michael, did you know Miss Kathleen?
I can't place her. I might, if you had a picture here, I might remember something, but I can't place just off the name. But I've heard both of their names a bunch as I grew up, but I don't know which one it was.
Well, R.V. Lee Johnson, mentioned him a little bit here, born in 1911, died in 1983. Miss Jennifer, do you remember him very much?
No. He was just one of the.
I just know him as coming with her.
Okay.
She come with him one.
Right.
Annie, Catherine, and Harvey Lee was husband and wife, wasn't it? Okay. Just church is about on the way I knew them. They had a son named Drexel. Is that the only one they had?
And two daughters.
Okay.
Rebecca.
Drexel was one I remember. But they were pretty faithful to church this time.
It was, yes.
So he would have been an adult by the time you came into the world. When you say he was active in the church, do you ever remember him teaching, or was he just somebody committed to the church?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't know that he did. He could have, and I didn't know it. I don't remember it one.
Jeff, did you know him? Miss Nancy, what do you remember about R.V. Lee?
But he was a good man, good dedicated Christian. As far as I can remember, I don't remember him ever teaching or doing anything like that. But they would help at anything we asked them to do, like bring food.
I expect his stroke probably incapacitated him in some ways, but what did he do for a living, do you know?
Farmed.
He was a
Farmed.
farmer. Did they live around here?
Of course, he was born and raised on this side of Kentucky, Logan County, I reckon, right around here somewhere. And of course, she's from Spall. And then they moved down the other side of Lewisburg when I was just a little girl on the Lost City Road. He farmed there. Nice farm.
Miss Joyce, did you know Harvey Lee?
No, I didn't.
Michael, you mentioned you knew these names, but
I remember the name, I remember hearing the name, but that's all I remember.
did you know his son, Drexel?
Yes, if I'm thinking about the right one, I know him.
Yeah, can't be too many Drexels
He's
around.
an older guy, and they actually have property up here on the hill. He does, it joins our property,
Okay.
so, but I don't know if that was from his father, or he bought it later, or what, but
Well, I've heard this name mentioned, and it's memorable because it's almost, you kind of want to think that there's a typo, but Ellis Estes Johnson, born 1906, died 1985. Miss Jennifer, did you know him?
I believe him and Enola were married.
They are.
And I think they lived around Bumpall. There was more Corvettes buddies. There used to be an old garage in Sharon Grove,
Mhm.
so that was a hangout for the guys. And of course, there was a little store that everybody went to, and an old feed mill. And I mean, that's just where the men hung out. So I think he was a farmer.
Okay. Calvin, did you know Ellis Johnson or Estes Johnson?
I did. That's his wife's next one, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
They had a great family. Was Larry Johnson, Stanley Johnson. There's 2 or 3 girls, Barbara. I remember them being in church a lot. Lived right up here. Well, other side of Bobby's and Brenda's.
Okay, they're
And
in.
going up a little hill on the left there.
It's across from where Juanita lived, am I?
Yeah.
Okay. So right near where David Morgan lives now.
I'm trying to think of the boy lived there. Carly Ramsey's boys living there now, I believe.
Kevin?
no, he's
He's done.
not there now, no.
Okay.
But yeah, right there on the left heading towards Elkton from here
Yeah.
on 106, past Everett.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff, did you know them?
Nope, I was reading an obituary or on family thing, they had 4 sons and 2 daughters.
Okay.
Well,
Ellis
do you remember Stanley, and Sir Kay?
Yeah,
It's Stanley's daddy.
okay, well, I didn't know, but
She
now I
kept
know.
him when he
but
was little.
Still didn't know.
Enola did?
No, her son and his wife.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's hard for me to think of it in these terms because I know you guys knew. When I look at the death dates, 1980s, that's not very long ago. But when you think that they were born in 1900,
Mm-hmm.
they were already very aged in the 80s. And so most of the people in this room would have been very young when they were already adults, if you were alive at all. So I have to keep that in mind. Ms. Nancy, did you know Ellis and Enola?
I knew both of them real well. She's a distant cousin of mine. And I dated Roy David when I was a teenager. And they were real good people. I never did see him that ugly out of them. And they lost a son. Was it in the army? Was he killed in the army? Wasn't he? And of course, that was really a horrible thing.
Hmm. Roy David, is that one of their boys? Okay. What was he like?
He's a nice young man. He took a big part in the church at Russellville, working member. Him and his wife,
Do you happen to know Enola's middle name? All we have is her middle initial.
Francis,
What is
would
it?
it's
It's
Francis.
got to be him.
Yeah.
It's Francis on this family thing, and there's
Okay.
2 of them that's listing the same as Francis.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's got B on.
The
Arnold.
your maiden name?
Probably, but I don't know what her maiden name was though.
Could have been.
It doesn't say who her parents are.
Did you know her parents? Nancy?
You know his parents? No.
Oh, you did?
Uh-uh. I think they were dead the time I started coming to Antioch.
Their son Stanley
I
used to
think
be
she
on
was a
the
bowley,
music
wasn't
group.
she?
There would be the B
And
then.
he laid
Okay.
flooring,
She used to
Bowley.
be a
and
what?
he laid
Bowley.
the,
I think she's a
in,
bowley.
fellowship hall.
Okay. So she was a Bowley.
I think
That's
so.
her maiden name. Okay. Jennifer was saying their son Stanley was the music leader here for a time.
Yes,
and
he
that's
was.
that's who you're talking about, Joyce. Their
Yeah.
bunch kept. Okay. And he put the flooring in the old fellowship hall.
No, the new one.
In the new one.
Was he the youngest, Stanley?
Stanley, uncle.
Must have been, if he's still working when y'all put the new fellowship hall in, because if his parents are born in 1900, that'd have him born, what, in the 30s or 40s? And he'd be in his 60s, 70s by the time y'all put the fellowship hall in. So must have been one of the younger ones. Okay, so that'd be Enola Bowley Johnson. Her middle name was Frances, he said.
Mhm.
Filling in blanks here, look at that. All right. Miss Joyce, did you know her very well, Enola or Ellis Estes?
I knew her when I saw her. When she came to barbecue, was that our daughter? Or it's something with, just ran my mind that what she was. I don't know. But anyway, when we first got married, Milton and I, she gave us our shower at her house.
Oh,
And we had it outside, and it was real nice, and she's a nice person.
mm.
I didn't know him too well.
Well, a lot of times this happens, and I'm going to ask you, Joyce, but I want to ask you on this one. People just seem to do nice things for you, and it doesn't seem like you're all that close with them. Like, you'll say somebody, they made a cake for us for
Yeah.
whatever, or they came to the funeral and spent the week with us when somebody passed or whatever. Were you close with them that she threw you a wedding shower?
I didn't know her. See, I just started going down here with Milton when we was dating.
Okay.
So he said, Nola and Juaniki was giving us a shock. I didn't know neither one of them.
Okay. You're just likable.
Yeah.
Michael, did you know Ellis Estes or Enola?
No, they was, like I said, their kids was even much older than me. I don't remember them. If I seen a picture, I might recognize the face, that I seen them here or something, but of course they're boys, I knew the two, but I can't place, I don't know when that one got killed. I don't remember that, so.
They were married on December the 23rd, 1950. Thanks
Goodness.
for filling up the blanks here. Right.
My Lord, they married old.
That's what that person, that's wedding certificate. It was in Logan County.
Yeah, they would have been 40 years old or more getting married.
Maybe it's a 30. It's not instead of 50. I bet it's a 30.
It's probably a 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were born in 1906 and 08. If it was 50, they'd
Yeah, it'd be
be.
a 30.
Yeah, that's geriatric by Michael's
Yeah.
standards. Alrighty. Goldie Bell, born Christmas. Goldie Bell Johnson, born 1921, died 2018. Did you know her, Jennifer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you couldn't help no Miss Goldie.
You never
was
saw
big.
a stranger, I don't think.
No. She could sell ice to an Eskimo. And she was big buddies of Aunt Lizzie and Uncle Walter that lived, my great aunt and uncle that lived on Bumpaw. She was married to Henry. She never seen a stranger, talked all the time. He'd talk if you talked to him. And she worked for Dr. McKendry in Lewisburg for a long time. And she was big into yard sales, flea markets, even up to her last days. Her children had to forbid her to go because she made pillows and jelly and, like I said, anything that would make $1, she'd make it to sell. But, you know, she was really likable, sweet old lady. She was sort of short and round like me, and he was tall and skinny.
Yeah. Lived to 97.
Yeah.
That's plenty. Calvin, did you know Goldie?
I did, yeah, big talker, wide open.
Wide open.
Tell you just what she thought.
You could recognize her voice in 100 people.
Yeah, true.
She, faithful to the church, pretty faithful to the church. She's married to, Henry, the next one.
Mm-hmm.
They had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy. Lawrence Johnson, one of them. Betty Johnson's the other. I didn't know, I can't remember the least one's name. What was her name? I can't remember.
I didn't know.
She was the baby one. But anyhow, that was, in the church, as far as I can remember, pretty faithful.
Are you thinking of Annie?
Huh?
Are you thinking of Annie?
Yeah, Annie.
That was actually her sister, but she
Oh, okay.
raised her.
Well, now, they had was it, I thought they had,
I think Betty Lou,
That was the only one.
And,
Betty Lawrence was 2. I
yeah,
know.
Lawrence was the only two.
Okay, the other one, it wasn't there, don't
No,
Okay.
that was her, the baby.
And
Wasn't it the
Annie
there? Yeah,
Lawrence's
I
son?
just thought it was.
No, it
What
was
was
Goldie's
it?
sister, her baby sister. I
Okay.
guess she was born late in her parents' life or something. And so when they passed away
I
or
just thought it
whatever,
was,
Goldie raised her.
I just thought it was your sister, I didn't know any.
But, yeah.
What do you have, Jeff?
I would know her from Dr. McHenry, but I had to see a face. I can't remember who exactly it was, but I see her siblings was Petrus, Prentis, sibling, and Orine, and Jonelle, Claudia, Lucky Hayes, Mary Louise, Milton D, and Lofton L, which are siblings.
Big
And
family.
Betty Lou's the only one listed on this one, but like I said, quite incomplete information.
What year was Lucky born in?
On this, it says Lucky was born in 1932, died in 2006.
Is there one born about my age, 1937? There was one that was. in
That
my
would be
class.
Lofton, Loftonl, Christmas, died in 2020.
I knew I went to school with one of them. That's the first I knew of the Christmases. There was a large group of them. I remember where they used to live over on the Deer Lake Road. Yeah, I like Goldie. She was a mess.
Yes, she was.
And I think everybody liked her.
Miss Joyce.
Yeah, I knew Goldie. She's sweet and she, like she said, she loves to go to flea markets or wherever she can make $1. And her husband celebrated their 60th anniversary one time.
Well, yeah, it'd just be one time.
A lot of times, her and Henry would come to Ely's and Uncle Walter's when she had a Christmas meal.
Oh.
Because back then, for 2 weeks, you went to everybody's house for Christmas.
Oh.
That you knew, family, halfway related.
Mm. Michael, did you know Miss Goldie?
Yeah, kind of reiterate what's done been said. I mean, she was a big talker, and she was, as like I said, kind of friends with everybody. I mean, she'd talk to you, and Henry, he didn't have a lot to say unless you talked to him. Now, if you talked to him, he'd talk back, but I mean, he was more quiet, and like she said, he was about that big around and just tall as all get out, and I remember us going up there. I went with my dad. He was going to buy a calf from him, and it just, you know, difference in families or the way he was raised or whatever. It just struck me so different that when we went to look at the calf, you know, Henry was showing us the calf, you know, and my dad asked, well, what do you want for it? He said, no, I said, you gotta talk to Goldie, it's hers. So we had to go talk to her about buying the calf, because it, you know, that's where the money went. She owned that calf, not him.
Hmm.
And I was pretty small when that happened, but I mean, of course, I was around when they was older, but I remember that as being one of my first acquaintances with them.
Hmm. Well, yeah, both of them made a really good lifetime. She made 97 and he made 95. You talked a bit about him just being thin. What do you remember of Henry, Jennifer?
Well, he was, of course, back in those days, most men chewed tobacco. So he always had a wad in his mouth, like my Uncle Walter. And, you know, you get them two together and they just talk all the time. But, you know, we could walk in and if you said, hi, Henry, how are you? Okay. That was it, you know, short and sweet. But I reckon he was a good man. I never heard anything out of him. Like his sister, that was a little different. But, you know, as far as I know, they was always good and faithful in the church.
Calvin, you mentioned that you knew Henry. What was he like? Goldie's husband, Henry.
Goldie?
Goldie's husband, Henry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I remember him, a tall feller, slender, kinda. Miss Goldie's husband, I think, that's about right.
Right.
Good people. I thought a lot of their family. I run around with Lawrence, some. But, they was pretty faithful in the church, best I remember. I remember Mr. Henry always sat on the outside of the bench most of the time, about every time I remember, next to the aisle, about 4 or 5 seats back. And that's their favorite spot, I reckon.
Hmm.
But anyhow, they was good people, they was faithful.
That's when I think of that spot. If I'm thinking of the same one, from the pulpit on my right, about 4 rows back on the aisle, that's where Dono always sat.
Yeah.
Is that about the same place?
I was thinking he was, well, I'm in the pulpit, be on the left,
Okay, he'd be on the left.
about where the pole is,
All right.
right along in there, Jenny, where he sit.
Okay. I like that kind of stuff.
The pole makes a lot of identity.
That's how we orient ourselves. It's funny, I can see in photos there's empty slots in diagonals because you can't see the pulpit because of the pole, so people will sit and we'll have this empty line in a diagonal. In any case. Jeff, did you know Goldie or Henry?
Like I said, I couldn't remember Goldie. I'd have to see a picture. And I was trying to find information on Henry, and I'm looking on Family Search, and it's written in German. That's unusual. But it's written in German, and it's
Wow.
him.
Huh. Must be people across the pond.
That's what I'm thinking.
Miss Nancy, what do you remember of Henry?
I liked Henry. He was nice, and he was no talker, but he would always speak to me. And I always wondered, every time I seen them, she was driving. And I wondered, could he drive? Did you ever see him drive?
No.
Nothing but a tractor.
Huh?
Nothing but a tractor.
A tractor. But I never seen him drive to town or anything. I don't know if because he didn't want to, or she wouldn't let him, or what.
I think I remember him driving. Didn't he work for the state?
Yes, he did.
I believe he drove.
So he had to drive there,
I
didn't he?
think so.
Miss Joyce, what do you remember about Henry?
He was real tall, and he didn't say very much, but he was nice.
Michael, you talked about him a little bit. Any other things you wanted to add?
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, I believe that was in his later years when he worked for the state. And when I said he was slim, you know, I mean, he was really slim. You make him look fat.
Okay.
I mean, he was, wasn't very big around at all, and real tall.
Wow. So, for a guess, when you say real tall, so I'm 6'2", are we talking 6'6", 6'8"?
Probably 6'6" anyway, I would guess.
Okay.
And their daughter, Betty Lou, which is on down the line, she was tall like that. She wasn't as skinny, but she was tall.
The next one here, Leander Boyd Johnson, born 1915, died 1992. Did you know him, Jennifer?
Yes, Boyd and Odessa were married,
Okay.
and they were both really big in the church. Their daughter was Letitia Johnson Blue that we talked about, and Chad's dad,
This
their
is,
child,
oh, okay, so this is Chad's,
Rodney
all right.
Johnson.
This is
And
Chad's
then I think
grand.
there's another one, but I don't know their other son.
There's another
Matthew,
Matthew.
Letitia.
Yeah,
No, Matthew was her,
Yeah, Matthew is
yeah.
Chad's brother.
Chad, yes,
Uh-huh.
brother.
Yeah, Letitia was one of them.
Yeah, and Rodney, and there's the older one, I don't know him.
Russell,
Yeah, but Boyd, as far as I know, of course, he was big friends of Pa Fat and Daddy, and most of the time in those days, the men would get together and have their conversations, and the women would get together and have their conversations. So I never had one with him, but he was real faithful in the church.
then there was Phyllis, that's another daughter she made.
She's in politics, isn't she?
I don't know.
Yeah, her picture was on TV just not long ago. From one of the commercials, the one she works for was running, can't think of his name, out of Bowling Green.
We mentioned Odessa. Let's go ahead and talk about her together. We'll do the couples together here. What do you remember about Odessa? Born Oglesby Johnson, born 1922, died 2014.
She was always big in Bible school and stuff with kids, and of course, like I said, she was always in the church, and she was in her 90s too. But she was always a real nice woman. She always seemed to keep her mind, even though she was pretty old. Even, when she was in her 90s or whatever, she always seemed to know you when she seen you, and be able to put a name to you and talk to you. Yeah, she was really a nice person.
Calvin, you remember Boyd and Odessa Johnson?
Yes, sir. Very well. We had a great family. Rodney Johnson's parents. There was, how was 3 or 4 of them kids?
Four.
4? Okay. I can't think of the one that, what is his name? Well, anyhow, it's Rodney's brother.
Russell.
Russell, yeah.
Russell, Rodney, Phyllis, and Letitia. That's
Yeah.
their names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great family, Odessa. This is a good, I'll never forget this as long as I live. That's my mistake, but we had training union class upstairs, and then we got Sunday school class. And I was teaching, and I got up there and I said, well, look back there at Miss Odessa, and she was sitting back there. I said, just out, I don't know why I done it, just out of my mind. She was on my mind. And good to have Miss Goldie Johnson with us. She got up on the end of the bench. She said, I have you know my name ain't Goldie, it's Odessa. Or excuse me, I don't know why I had my mind on her, boy. Well, she flat told me that right off the bat. I mean, she didn't beat around the bush, but I was embarrassed. But I don't know why. I just had Goldie on my mind, I guess. But anyhow, she was straightforward too. She pretty well said what she thought, I guess, but, she didn't take no slack. But Mr. Boyd, he was kind of a quiet type guy, best I remember him. Didn't say a whole lot. But there's good people, faithful to the church. Miss Odette, she worked real good in the cafeteria, I think, best I remember, didn't she? She was good in that, especially on homecoming and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you know them at all, Jeff?
No, but I will say that I'm seeing that Boyd and is it Avis? We just got Ivy. We just talked about Arbie are brothers.
No,
They're not brothers.
No.
According to this, it's brothers.
Obie's not, Obie Dillon, he married, remember, he married, what's her name?
Arlie.
Arby, yeah.
It's like it says Arbie and Boyd are brothers. That's what it says on here. I don't know.
I don't think Arby had a brother, I think he had sisters, didn't he, Kevin? Obie Dillon, he didn't have any brothers, he just had sisters, didn't he?
Best I remember, yeah.
And also I show on here that Odessa sister was Lola. We talked about her earlier last time.
Ola was Odessa's sister.
That's Tish's mama.
Okay. Well, that's one.
She came over to the house one time with her son.
All right.
We
Well, that's
lived
all I
back in
know.
'6.
I still don't know.
Miss Nancy, what do you remember about Boyd and Odessa?
Oh, I really thought the world of them. They were a good couple, they done things, and they was dedicated to the church, and they would help you. But Odessa, now, she just said what she thought, and she believed in living by the Bible. But I really thought the world of them.
Miss Joyce, did you know them, Boyd and Odessa?
I knew Odessa better than I did Boyd. But that was, like I said, Tish's daddy and mama, and we were close friends.
Okay. What was Miss Tisha like?
Oh, she was sweet. And I told you that time she waited for me when I had to work overtime.
Oh, okay, so this is her.
Yeah,
All right.
but she told you what she thought too, just like her mom.
Yeah, it was.
There's a trend here. A lot of real quiet men and women that'll tell you what they think.
Yeah, that was true.
Picking that
We
up.
kind of growed up in that, really.
Well, they just talk behind their back.
Michael, did you know Boyd and Odessa?
Yes. But like them, Boyd was kind of quiet. But, you know, if he had something to say, he would talk to you. But, you know, it wasn't like he went out of his way just to come over and say hey or whatever, you know. And she, she was real talkative. And one thing I remember about her is a little different. She had a laugh. It was kind of a choppy, kind of a cackle-like laugh, you know, or something like that, you know. But, it was on that order, but it was just different. But she would laugh and talk with you, you know. But I remember them, like I said, working with the church. And I know way back we had, I think I've told you about it, we had trouble with, you know, some people didn't want us to play ball up here during Bible school in the cemetery, even though it wasn't occupied, but said it was, you know, a gift for a cemetery. So Boyd said, well, y'all just come over to the house. And he went out there with his mower and he mowed down the place, and we had a ball down right there for Bible school, you know. He furnished the place. He filled the need when there was a need for Bible school there.
So the homestead over there, you go out Duncan Ridge Road and turn left on 106 toward Lewisburg. Can't be maybe a mile. There's the driveway there on the left that'll take you back to the homestead.
Right.
Whose home is that? I know that's Johnson people.
Well, when you go to the very back, that's where Well, the ones I remember, that was where Boyd and Odessa lived, but it could have been before that, somebody else, Johnson, I don't know.
But Rodney's.
I think Rodney and Karen lived there, she's passed, and Karen's buried there.
Yeah, they have a little bitty family cemetery right out in front of the house. Probably got half a dozen people in it.
That's Karen's.
Okay,
That's Rodney's wife's.
okay. All right.
Did they have a bed and breakfast or something like that?
There is one
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it's like Nana's Place or something.
Nana's Castle.
Nana's Castle.
But as far as going back generation enough, you know, that's where Boyd and Odessa lived, but I don't know who lived there before them. I mean, I don't know if that was some more Johnsons, some of his, I don't know.
But that's where he mowed it down so y'all could play ball out.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get over there? Did you go that route?
I rode in the back of the truck.
Okay.
Cattle racks.
Yep.
Put us boys in there for Bible school, and we rode over there to play ball, and then we'd come back to church.
Okay. I figured as much. All right, briefly mentioned this person, Ovie Dillon Johnson, born 1922, died 1968. Significantly shorter life on this person. Did you know Ovie, Jennifer?
No, I was two.
Okay.
But I do know he was married to Arlie Stinson.
Mm-hmm.
And she and Dallas were big in the church. She was my Sunday school teacher for 10 years, because she had the youth. You know, till you graduated high school, you were basically hers. And she had Christmas parties and everything for the kids, lock-in things, you know, whatever. Even though she was an older lady, or at least she seemed that way. But,
Did you say Ovie was married to her?
Yeah.
And so she, married Dallas after?
yeah, after he passed away, she married Dallas.
Okay.
And I don't reckon she ever had children. Dallas had a son, but Mama said that she always liked Ovie Dillon, said he was a real nice guy.
Calvin, do you remember Ovie Dillon Johnson?
Not a whole lot. I was just trying to figure out who it was. Nancy was talking about it. I just can't place a face with a name. I don't know anything much about him that I remember.
Okay. Jeff, what's your input?
I don't know her.
Okay.
I don't know.
You knew Arlie though.
Yeah, Early Simpson, right?
Yeah.
Well, who's this then?
This is
Her
her
first
first
husband.
husband.
Okay, well, I didn't know him.
I
I
know
was
you
not
did.
even born.
I know that.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
this
you knew
is-
Arlie because she was your Sunday school teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure she's on here, correct?
Yeah.
Is she? Yeah, I thought I knew her name was here somewhere. No, she's not in
I
our
think they're buried
cemetery.
again.
Okay.
Yeah,
Arlie
they're
and
buried
Dallas.
Okay. Yeah, I know the name Dallas Stinson. I've heard that name several times. So he must have been, well, he's in our minutes a lot. That's where I know his name. He's in our minutes. So he must have played some sort of a significant part.
Treasurer at one time.
Okay. Miss Nancy, Ovie Dillon.
I knew Ovie Dillon. He was a good-hearted person, but he was kind of rough, and he talked rough, and he was sick a lot. And she worked and made the living because he wasn't able. I guess it was his heart.
Okay.
And they had went to St. Louis and worked over there, and then they moved back out here, Logan County.
You don't happen to remember how long it was between him dying and her marrying Dallas, do you?
Went too many years. She, well, I don't know, her and Dallas just hit it off. They were good workers. But I can't figure out what Johnson family he belongs to. I think he's from Spald, but I can't figure out any of the rest of his family. I know he had a sister. Can't remember her name.
Miss Joyce, did you know Obie Dillon?
I didn't know him, I knew Arlie and,
Dallas?
our other husband.
Yeah. Michael, you'd have been a boy.
Yeah, I just remember things about him. I can't place what he even looked like, but they lived kind of around, like you go in down there on, oh, I forgot what they call it now, the something Johnson Road. Go down here and turn left. It goes back in kind of the backside of our farm.
Okay.
And they lived back in there some, because I know they had a car that wouldn't hardly make it up the hill, because it was a hill, it was a bad hill back there, and they had a car, they had trouble getting up there. I remember that about it, because I was little, but you know, if we'd be back there working, we'd see them come in and try to go up that hill. Of course, there's gravel, ruts and everything else, you know. But he lived back there.
Nancy, you was trying to place his parents. His parents was Amos Edward Johnson and Gladys Whitson Johnson.
I remember them.
He might have been, just on a brief look through here, he might have been the second or so person buried in this cemetery, because it was donated by Mr. Blake, and then he was buried here in 64. And there's not hardly anybody between him in 64 and Mr. Johnson here in 68. It's like, in any case, he would have been very early on, one of the first buried here. One of the first, at least. Alrighty. Well, that should have us for the night. That's 10 till, so that's pretty good. We'll stop there tonight.